just like if Fani Willis hired her lover? Don't you think we would have had a right to know that? Doesn't that compromise the whole mess further? You still have this Fulton County case down in Georgia that's been irredeemably compromised, in my view, by Fani Willis and her affair with the special prosecutor she hired, and it looks like their criminality in covering up that affair. So there's been new developments in the sense that President Trump's lawyers were able to obtain cell phone data that showed that Nathan Wade was basically going around her house. I mean, I guess cell phone data wasn't specific enough to figure out what apartment he was visiting when he was in that general area, but it was pretty clear, based circumstantially, what the records show, that he was in the air, basically at her home, practically speaking, and then he'd be then in the middle of the night he'd go home and then text her. It's pretty damning material. So that information is out there, further undermining their denials that they only began their affair after she hired him, as if that's good enough or perfectly appropriate and doesn't raise conflict issues just with that. But if the affair began before she hired him, that would just escalate the issue, and it looks like that's the case, and they were lying about it. So this is a criminal issue, in my view, for Fani Willis, in addition to these ethics issues about whether she and her office will be dismissed from the case, or whether the case itself will be completely dismissed because, as I said, it's been irredeemably compromised. And the court has concluded its hearings, and I think they had closing arguments. I wasn't able to catch them, but I understand they were pretty powerful in terms of making the case against Fani Willis. And I talked about this the other day with Carl Higbee on Newsmax, and let's play a clip from that.
Well, these are political prosecutions, right? And there's that corruption. On top of that, which we often see where tyrants seek to jail their enemies, those same tyrants are lining their pockets. So this whole process of prosecuting Trump before these two grand juries and these other Americans has been, in my view, irredeemably tainted by this relationship where they were using the money that Wade was earning as a result of his relationship, his being hired by Fani, to advance their romantic interests and go on a vacation spree. How many vacations did they go on together once they started dating? Even by their own admission,
right.
What, 4 or 5 or 6?
Yeah, and the problem is all these investigations are fueled by taxpayer dollars, and
and just quickly, I mean, we saw in the Mueller investigation, at the federal case against Trump, you had the 2 FBI agents, Peter Strzok, Lisa Page. Remember, they had that illicit relationship going with this anti-Trump bias that infected that investigation. So much so, they were forced out.
Yeah, let's not forget, this isn't the first time, right? And it helps explain, in my view, why Jack Smith doesn't want to tell us who his top people are working for him, because these are the sorts of questions they're going to be asked. Do they have a bias? Do they have relationships, political or otherwise, that people would question whether it's appropriate for them to try to jail, to be involved in trying to jail a president? And does that type of potential bias raise questions, in addition to the obvious political nature of the charges, that the charges shouldn't have been brought to begin with? I mean, if Jack Smith went and found and only hired Democrat donors, don't we have a right to know that? If Fani Willis, just like if Fani Willis hired her lover, don't you think we would have had a right to know that? Doesn't that compromise the whole mess further? Sure does. And that's why Fani Willis is furious about these allegations, and because she sees the writing on the wall. And that's why Jack Smith and the Biden Justice Department are desperately trying to keep the names of the people working on Trump's prosecution away from Judicial Watch and the American people. Remember, we're not asking for Judicial Watch. I mean, legally we're asking for Judicial Watch. We're in court over it. but we're asking on behalf of the American people for access to information about what the government's up to. And these prosecutions are unprecedented, and we should have access to this basic information about their effort to, in my view, rig an election and throw a president in jail for political reasons. Then one of the reasons they want to do it is because Biden has all these corruption issues himself. What better way to distract from that than to throw all these spurious charges at Trump? Thanks for watching. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button and like our video down below.